Guys, that honestly has to be the most unusual 90 minutes of football that I've probably watched all weekend, and it's only Saturday evening. Honestly, I don't know what to make of that 90 minutes. First and foremost, the first half and the second half for Manchester United, two completely different stories. The first half for me for Manchester United, it was like a romance novel, where the princess gets her happy ever after. Then the second half, it was a horror show. But Manchester United managed to see it out, get 3 points on the board, and now go up to the top half of the table. It's the win that counts. It's the win that counts. But we have a lot to talk about. We have to talk about the in-game management from both managers. We have to talk about the incidents that occurred in the game, and we have to give some credit to some players. So be sure to hit the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here. Now let's start with, for me, one person that deserves praise today. I think he done very well given the circumstances and given the accolades that he's actually achieved coming in to this game. 100 goals for Bruno Fernandes in a Manchester United shirt in his 200th Premier League appearance. Yes, he's made 200 appearances for Manchester United, which to me is crazy because sometimes I feel like he hasn't actually been here for that long. 200 is a lot, so congratulations to him. Also opens the scoring for Manchester United today, and today I felt like he was a lot better and a lot more disciplined in the middle of the pitch. I'm not gonna lie, coming into the game I was skeptical again of Ruben Amorim's starting lineup, Euro being dropped, and the second time that the manager has kind of gone with playing Ahmad as that left-sided player, despite the fact that Ahmad has only... Last week, before the Manchester derby, Amorim was asked why he chose to play Ahmad in the left. And obviously Cunha was out, and today he was on the bench. And before the derby, Amorim said that he played him there because he played there during international break for Ivory Coast. But he's only ever played there once for Ivory Coast, and that was that one international break game. Now on top of that, in his entirety of his career, he's only played there 20 times, and 13 of them were when he was in the Atalanta youth team. So it's not a position that he's really been prevalent at. It's not a position that he's played as often. So coming into today with Cunha, knowing that Cunha, was returning from injury, I would have opted, and I would have liked for the manager to opt with having Bruno Fernandes in that 10, because that's his better position. But with saying that Bruno did better in that central midfield than maybe we anticipated or what we've been seeing in recent times, and obviously because we've been coming up against, I think, a lot more stronger midfields, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I felt like today Caicedo is the anchor for Chelsea in the middle of the pitch, but Sanchez red card, we're going to talk about that, I think changed the game for Manchester United completely, and I also feel in a way that we didn't capitalise on that enough. Throughout the first half they were pretty much open, they were pretty much all over the place, and it seemed like the game plan was to try and feed aerial balls into Benjamin Sesko, who's still trying to find his footing at Manchester United. I mean, today is his first start in the Premier League at Old Trafford, so he's still trying to figure out his footing. In the first half, he also he had the least number of touches, tied actually with Altay Bayinda in the first half, and by the end of the game he had 8 touches, and he went off in he went off at half time for Ugarte. Basically 45 minutes he had 8 touches. Now I felt a bit conflicted about that change. I felt a bit conflicted about the change for Ugarte because I understand we have to talk about why that happened. Now, Casemiro getting red carded, I'm sorry guys, that's not a red card. That second booking that he got, I think because the ref blew the whistle, so he just had to give it. He just had to give it. But I don't think that's a second yellow. What I will say is, though, I understand why it could be a second yellow, because had he not already been on a yellow, I don't even think the ref would have booked him for that. I don't know. Some people are saying he would have, but I don't think. I think that was a very soft second yellow for Casemiro. But also you have to understand, I think, that Casemiro has to do better in those situations, knowing, the game, managing the game, managing the expectations of the game. He has to be better. And both of the challenges actually that got him a yellow card was just, I think, foolish challenges. But Sanchez's red card, for me, I don't think we capitalised on it enough. Why? Because Enzo Maresca did something that has still till now bamboozled me. It's bamboozled me. And he took off practically his entire attacking front line. I mean, he took off Esteval. Esteval was sacrificed because of the red card, which is good for us. But, it's unfortunate for Esteval because, he's not really he hasn't really cemented his position in the Chelsea team. And then Neto was sacrificed for Tosin Adarabioyo. And then Enzo Maresca chose to put 5 in the back. So what did that do? That left João Pedro, Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo as the players in front of that back 5. And for me, I think Maresca took the cowardly way out. And the reason why I'm saying that, and I'm sure Chelsea fans might agree with me on that, because I just think that, had obviously he didn't know another red card in the game was on the horizon, but 5 minutes into the game, you've taken out 2 of your outfield players, 2 of your attacking players, and essentially you've gone to park the bus. Tosin Adarabioyo obviously coming on, I think, for that aerial threat that he probably offers, which is funny because then they conceded another header opportunity. But I feel like Man United and Amorim did not capitalise on that decision making from Maresca enough. I just genuinely think we did not capitalise on it enough. I would have liked, coming into the game, I did think, Ahmad, Mbeumo, Sesko, just take shots, because I feel like with Sanchez, a lot of people, fans and Chelsea fans know, I think, and rival fans, they definitely know what you get with Sanchez 90% of the time. 1 game out of 20, he might give you the Club World Cup final that he did against PSG. But I think, you know what you're going to get from Sanchez in front of goal. So I was hoping coming into the game United would, go for that opportunity. But then when he got sent off and, Enzo Maresca took off Neto, and then he took off Esteval, and then he took off Cole Palmer, I just think that we kind of, excuse my language, but pussyfooted around the game. We should have gave the game to them. That's basically what I'm trying to say, guys. Because the whole time I was watching in the first half, I'm thinking, we are the team with a man advantage. We are a team with the attacking advantage. Why are we not capitalising on it? Why are we not going for more? We're 2-0 up. Why are we not going for the third? Why are we not going for a fourth, etc.? I just felt like it was, and maybe this is where the I don't know, the person, the I don't know what, the dream chaser in me comes into play, because I just felt like maybe a lot of other people were happy with United going into the half 2-0 up, but I just never felt comfortable with that lead. And with Manchester United, I think you can never really be too comfortable with that lead. And the goal that Chalobah scores kind of proved it. That was actually their first chance, I think, on target. So Altay Bayinder's first chance that he concedes on target is into the back of the net, doesn't even dive for it, caught in no man's land, and it's also a very good header from Chalobah. One player that I really liked, and maybe we didn't get to see enough from him in the attack. I mean, to be honest, in our attack after the second goal, I don't really think we're going for the crosses a lot. And that's quite different to maybe what we're kind of used to seeing from Manchester United. I feel like a lot of the time we're trying to feed the ball in directly. Today I felt like Man United were going for the crosses. They were going for that diagonal switch to Patrick Dorgu to kind of play the ball back across immediately. So feed the ball across to Dorgu and then get that ball across, or even feed the ball across to Ahmad and get that ball across. But we have to talk about Ahmad. I think we really have to talk about Ahmad. Just how he's been in the final third, or even in attack. His decision making has been underwhelming, I will say, definitely been underwhelming. And I think Manchester United's attack, Mbeumo, Ahmad, Sesko, they're still trying to figure it out. Fifth game into the league. And I really need to see Sesko on the score sheet. Like, any goal at this point will do. Just because I don't want rival fans making a comedy show out of him, but most importantly for confidence. And that's actually one criticism that I probably have for Amorim in-game. I felt like the in-game management when choosing to take off Sesko, for me, it was quite questionable, because you've got a young striker that's just coming in, and like I said, it's his first start in the Premier League at Old Trafford, and you hook him at half-time, use him as that sacrifice for the midfield, which I understand you have to bring on a midfielder. But for me personally, for a team that weren't getting in behind much, for a team that had João Pedro dropping off of the back line quite often, and then as a result he had no runners running off of him, Man United should have just went into a back four and sacrificed one of those centre-backs, quotation marks, or wing-backs even. If Manchester United have opted, if Amorim had opted to, take off Dorgu, put Luke Shaw at left-back and play a back four, and then bring on Ugarte and leave your striker on, I would have preferred that personally, just because I felt like, it's just a kick in the teeth for a player like Sesko, who, like I said, is still trying to find his footing, but also when Man United were in transition in the second half, and we were in transition quite a bit because Chelsea at some point were squeezed and pushing forward, there was no one there. there was no one there. Bruno, robbing the ball off Reece James, has no one with him, has to drive to about 25 yards out and take a shot. Ahmad, caught in no man's land, no one with him. He has to just turn around and pass it back to Patrick Dorgu. I just felt like that Sesko change for me didn't make much sense. It really didn't make much sense. Like I said, I understand Ugarte had to come on, or even a midfielder had to come on. We saw Kobe Mainoo coming on for 3 minutes of the game. But I would have liked, Man United to just shift into that back four, because I just don't think Chelsea were threatening enough in that game outside of set pieces that they were getting, because I don't think that front line was creating anything. And like I said, Enzo Maresca, I think, took the cowardly way out of the game by choosing to park the bus and go 5 in the back with 85 minutes to go. I don't think I've ever seen something like that, guys. I genuinely have. I don't think I've seen a change like that from a top team manager, one of the top 6, or even across Europe, one of the big clubs. I don't think I've ever seen a manager get their keeper. The keeper's been sent off, and the first thing they do is sacrifice 2 of their attackers and go 5 in the back and just park the bus. He probably was trying to go for the smash and grab, probably going for the draw. And you know what, guys? I was watching the game laughing, because I was just thinking, it's just a matter of time before Alejandro Garnacho comes on. Because I think there was a lot of hype about this game because of Garnacho. His return to Old Trafford, that first return to Old Trafford. Chelsea using him for the promos of this game. His face, his picture, etc. All of that to be an unused sub. Well, I'll be damned. I'd be damned. I mean, Tyreek George, who for me was 1 foot in, 1 foot out this summer, and I was convinced that Chelsea were trying to get rid of him. He came on ahead of Garnacho. Enzo Maresca, and this is why I said I questioned Enzo as somebody, if I was to look at this from the outside, as someone who has 2 attacking options on the bench of players that can run in behind, that you spend 50 mil on, and you bring on Tyreek George. I don't know. That was odd, but I find for agenda purposes, I love it. But yeah, 3 points in the bag, guys. Bruno on the score sheet. Casemiro with his red card moment, but also loves a goal against Chelsea. Patrick Dorgu with an assist. Harry Maguire, I think, he said that he's got an assist, but I don't know if that's officially his assist for the second. Bruno getting a goal, like I said, and congratulations for Bruno. 100 goals for Manchester United in his 200th Premier League appearances, but we finally get 3 points against a big team. By the way, guys, the last time that Manchester United, under Ruben Amorim, at home in the league, Manchester United have beaten Everton. That was his second Premier League game that he was in charge. And then after that, Ipswich relegated, Southampton relegated, Burnley this season newly promoted, Aston Villa, and now Chelsea. We finally beat a top 6 team at home under Ruben Amorim. And when I say top 6, guys, you know me, I'm talking about on paper they're a top 6 team, the traditional top 6. But thank God. About bloody time. But let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Be sure, what players stood out for you? And what did you make of that 90 minutes of madness, guys? Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here.